Hey there guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button. So for today's video, I have a couple of prime fresh dupes to share with you guys today. And a lot of these dupes not only are going to be just as great, but maybe even better than their high-end counterpart. And I have been accumulating these dupes for quite some time now, so I'm super excited to share them with you guys today, mainly because I haven't really heard anybody talk about these. So I really hope that these are some dupes that you have never heard before and you're gonna be really excited to go out and try these out. And a lot of these dupes are also not gonna be just color dupes, but some of them are also gonna be like formulation dupes. So say you had the original high-end counterpart and you just didn't like the formulation of it, well here's this other one that's a better quality version of it. Some of the colors aren't gonna be the same, but you're gonna get better quality in the long run. So that is what I have in store for you guys today. I really hope you guys are excited to hear what these dupes are going to be. Keeping a very short and sweet intro for you guys because I have a ton of products to talk to you guys and share with you. So make sure you guys go ahead, comment down below what some of your favorite dupes are, and while you're at it, make sure you guys go ahead and give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe for future videos. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you are notified when I do upload. And with that being said, if you guys are excited to see what dupes I have in store for you today, then let's go ahead and dive right on it. So, first dupe I got for you guys today is one that I was thoroughly excited about when I found out it released because I knew I need to get my hands on it immediately. The high-end counterpart to it is one that I actually use like almost every single day. Anytime I wear makeup, I'm using this product. So I was really excited to see a more cheaper version of it come out. And it is the Sigma Eyeshadow Base Primer in the shade Persuade, which is a dupe for the MAC Painterly Paint Pot. You guys know that I use the MAC Painterly Paint Pot every single day. I use it on my eyes. I use it to prime my nose. I'm using it constantly. My little Back to MAC bag is actually full of all of these paint pots because I go through them like crazy. I feel like I use a lot of product in the long run too because it is so creamy and thin that when I'm applying it I feel like I can tend to get overboard with the product and it just go a little too heavy with it. So when Sigma released their eyeshadow base primers in the shade Persuade, I noticed that it was an exact dupe for Painterly. It's the same exact pinky nude matte shade and it works like a dream. I love the fact that it comes in a stick form because I can just slide it on my eyes and then buff it off my finger. I don't feel like I had to dip my finger into the pot or dip a brush into it and worry about all that mess. I can really just go straight from the stick onto my eye, blend it out that way, and it's so much quicker. It's a little bit fuller coverage in the texture of it as well, which is another reason why I like it because I feel like I'm not using as much product as I do with the MAC Painterly Paint Pot. So in the long run, I'm saving a couple bucks, I'm being a little bit more sanitary with my product, and I also feel like it's saving me a lot of time and I'm not wasting that much product either. So while we're on the topic of eyes, I do have a couple of eyeshadow products that I want to share with you. And one that I was quickly surprised by, and I actually haven't heard anybody else on YouTube talk about it. I don't know if I'm not watching people who are talking about it. Both of these I didn't intentionally get because they were a dupe. I just happened to notice it after I bought them. I was like, oh my god, it's a dupe. This is perfect. And I love the formula of these as well. The first one is the Colourpop Element of Surprise palette. And I actually picked this up at Ulta because I noticed this shade right here, which I believe is either Subdued or Opulent. I don't know. I never know how to read the back of these things. Either way, it's a nice iridescent blue purple and I quickly fell in love with that shade. When I got it home, I noticed that it was an exact dupe for the Huda Beauty Desert Dust palette. And it's no surprise why I did love that blue purple shade because Twilight is the exact dupe for it. The formula of the Colourpop one is 10,000 times better than the Huda Beauty one. I find that a lot of mattes in the Desert Dust palette are so dry and they're just really stubborn to blend. I personally have a hard time with some of these purple shades and some of the darker shades as well too. They're just so dry and it takes a lot of effort to blend them out. Whereas Colourpop shadows, I never have a problem blending these out. The mattes are super creamy. They blend like a dream. I actually have this palette on my eyes today. I'm wearing this cool tone mauve shade in my crease, this muted brown neutral shade in my outer corner, and then this iridescent pinky brown shade on my lid. And I really just loved how it blended out. I do think that you need to use a little bit of Fix Plus with the shimmer shade, but I find that I have to do the exact same thing with the Desert Dust palette as well. So I definitely would save your money, get the Colourpop one because it's a lot better formula. The Huda Beauty one, the colors are beautiful, you do get a lot more, but for $65, I would expect the mattes to blend a lot better than they do. I just don't have time to sit around and fuss with this palette, but the Colourpop one, you're getting a steal out of the quality of it. The next one is another Colourpop palette. This is the Double Entendre palette. It's your basic warm neutral palette, and I really loved the shades that were in this palette. You have a lot of nice orange and yellow tone browns, and this is the same thing happened. I got it home and then I realized it's literally an exact dupe for the Tartelette Toasted palette. Like, the Huda Beauty was a close one. Like, there was a couple shades in there missing. This has the exact same shades in it. It's honestly remarkable how similar it is, down to this gold sparkly brown. It's so identical, and the Colourpop one is just as great. You don't have the lovely vanilla smell like you do get in Tarte, but I do love the Colourpop counterpart to it. The Tarte one obviously is one of my favorite palettes. I love Tarte eyeshadows. They blend like a dream, but I never have a problem with the Colourpop one either. You're gonna save a couple bucks, and I know a lot of people did not want to pick up the Tarte Toasted palette because they didn't feel like they needed another warm neutral palette, especially at the price tag that Tarte palettes are. But when you're paying for it and a Colourpop price range, you can't beat it, especially if you want to have that guilty pleasure and add one more warm neutral palette to your collection. I think the Colourpop one's gonna be a great one to go for. The shimmer shades don't need Fix Plus in it like I find the Tarte ones do, and I don't find that they get too clumpy either. They really do blend like a dream, and they're super soft, just like the Tarte ones are as well. I've seen so many people talk about the Double Entendre palette here on YouTube, but I've had no one else, at least on my knowledge and in my subscription feed, compare it to the Tarte one. So I'm really shocked by that, but I hands down would pick up the Double Entendre one for sure. So next up, I actually have a couple of Fenty highlighter dupes, and these I was so happy to find. Like, you guys have no idea how ecstatic I was when I found out I had dupes for these highlighters because they're so freaking coveted. Everybody wants these highlighters. I unfortunately do not have a dupe for Trophy Wife, but that's one that's very undupable in my opinion. But I do have a couple other ones for their double pan highlighters. You guys know that I'm a huge fan of the Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal palette, specifically Fire Crystal over here, which is this more glittery, more pigmented highlighter. It's really, really glowy. It's not a subtle highlight whatsoever. And the one that I found is an exact dupe for it is the Milani Strobelight highlighters. These are just as pigmented, just as glittery and glowy, and the shades are very, very identical. I mean, just look at that. It's such an intense strobe, and I really love the quality of it. Plus, with the Milani ones, you're getting a full pan, whereas with the Fenty one, you only get half a pan. So I really think you get your bang for your buck when it comes to the Milani ones. Milani has a ton of dupes in this video, by the way. They're not sponsored whatsoever. They just kill it every single time. I'm a huge fan of their products. But these I recently picked up, and I was so happy to find out it was a dupe for my favorite Fenty highlighter because I feel like I'm going to hit pan on this one very soon, and I don't really want to have to repurchase it. So I'm glad I had the Milani one on hand. And even though I don't have a dupe for the more subtle, subdued highlighter in the pans, I do have a dupe for the Hustler Baby, which is this more pigmented rose gold shade in the Fenty highlighter. This one was a little bit harder to do because I thought maybe it would just be a more champagne-y color, but it's actually gold with a pink undertone. It's not exactly just champagne. So I really found that the Wet n Wild Precious Petals highlighter was a very close dupe to it. It's a little bit more pinker in its tone, but I really think they are very, very close. Again, you get a full-size pan instead of just a half a pan like you do in the Fenty one. Also, Wet n Wild is insanely cheap, so you're really getting a nice bang for your buck when it comes to using this one. I don't find that the Wet n Wild one is as metallic as the Fenty Beauty one is, but I do think that it is really glossy. It's very, very high shine, and I think that the duochrome effect that it has is a little bit more stronger, but it's very beautiful. Again, I don't have a dupe for the lighter one in this palette, but I really think that mainly everybody cares about this more pigmented pan. I never hear anybody talking about the more subdued highlighter in these duo pans. I always hear people talking about the more glittery metallic one. So next I have another one that I just happened to stumble upon, and they were actually invented for the same reason. This is the Milani Color Harmony Blush Palette. You have 4 different blush shades in this one little pan. You have a more brown tone, a darker pink, a light pink, and then a opalescent highlighter shade right here. And when you blend them all together, you get a nice luminous blush shade that's perfect for draping. That's actually what they are made for. And it's an exact dupe for the Marc Jacobs Air blushes. These were iconic last year. They were invented for the whole draping trend that was going on at the moment. And these are an exact dupe for each other. This one's a little bit more browner in tone, but there's such an array of colors. Same with the Marc Jacobs one. There's an array of colors in that Air blush collection. And so you can really find one that's going to match perfectly for your skin type. You guys know that I'm a huge fan of the Marc Jacobs Air blushes. I use this blush almost every single day because it really does give a soft, luminous finish to your skin. They're both finely milled powders that give a soft, luminous, glistening glisten to the skin. So I really think that you guys would like these a lot too. They're not too pigmented either. And I found that with the Marc Jacobs one, when you go over here, you get a lot more blush. If you go over here, you get a lot more glow. And it's the same with the Milani one. If you stick to the bottom of the pan, you're going to get a lot more blush. The higher up you go, the more highlighting you're going to get. So I really love these. I definitely love the Milani ones a lot more just because you get a little bit more pigmentation out of it, and they are just, you know, not $42 for a blush basically. So next up is a foundation, which I rarely hear people talking about dupe foundations, and this was one that I really was happy to find because this is one of my favorite everyday foundations. This is the NARS Velvet Matte Foundation Stick. This one's definitely one of my more every single day foundations, and it's really creamy. You get a nice soft matte finish to the skin. I don't feel like it budges anywhere, and the fact that it's in a stick, I feel like it's a lot quicker and just easy to apply. I can buff it out, but you get such little product for the price tag, and it really was just too ridiculous for me to have to repurchase this whenever I ran out of it. Then I found this little baby. This is the Sephora Make No Mistake Stick Foundation. This is honestly very similar in its formulation to the NARS Velvet Matte Stick, and look at how much product you get. That is just a beaut right there in itself. You get so much product with this one, and it's the same kind of formulation. It has a medium to full coverage as well, but it's very buildable. It's a soft matte finish, and I feel like I can use it all over the face, or I can use it to just touch up in certain areas. This one I can easily build up. I feel like I have a lot of control of the product, and if I were just to use it as a spot concealer, it wouldn't look weird or patchy on my skin. I also think that if you are just not a fan of NARS, you don't like supporting them or anything like that, I would definitely try out the Sephora one. I think it's very similar to it, and even if you just don't want to pay the price tag for NARS, check out the Sephora one. It's not that much cheaper, but it is a significant difference in the price, I think, and you also, like I said, a significant amount of product that you get, that's for sure. So the last couple of products that I had to talk about are actually lipstick dupes. And lipstick dupes are one area that I really struggle to find exact dupes in. I know I have a ton of lipsticks. My lipstick collection expands to 2 freaking ALEECE stores. It's ridiculous. But I feel like a lot of people really try to pick lipstick dupes that had the same exact formulation and same exact color, and it really just is hard, I find. And so some of these dupes are not going to have the same exact formulation, but the color's going to be the same and vice versa. First up that I have is one of my favorite nudes. It is the MAC Lip Tensity lipstick in the shade Dough. You guys know this is one of my favorite nude lipsticks. It is a perfect neutral pink nude. It literally looks flattering with any single look because it has that neutral undertone, so you can wear it with cool tone looks or you can wear it with your warm tone looks. And it has intense pigmentation out of it as well, since it is from the Lip Intensity line. You had that nice soft matte finish to it, so it's not going to be too dry on the lips either. And I found that the closest dupe I could find, even though it is in a liquid lipstick form, is the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream in the shade Abu Dhabi. Even though this is a more liquid lipstick type of formula, color-wise, they're an exact dupe. There's no denying that. They really are very creamy. They're both very buttery, but they also have that soft matte finish, so they're not going to dry out your lips too much, but you're not going to have that intense shine either. You get a ton of pigmentation out of this lipstick, and they both last really long on the lips as well too. I love the NYX Soft Matte Lip Creams. They're one of my favorite lipstick formulas out there because even though they apply like a liquid lipstick, you get the feeling of a traditional lipstick, which is why I love them. So another nude lipstick that I am always obsessed with is actually one that I'm wearing right now, is the Milk Makeup Lip Color in the shade C.R.E.A.M. And this is a beautiful pinky nude. This is a true pinky nude in my opinion. And I love this formula. However, it's very matte on the lips and it's super creamy at the same time too. I really like these soft matte lipsticks because they are very creamy. They're not going to accentuate any dryness that you have going on. And one that I've had in my collection for a long time and then I realized they were really an exact dupe is the Milani Matte Naked Lip Color. These are both very cool tone pinky nudes. You get the same exact color formula and they really have the same exact formulation as well too. So this is one where the formulation and the color are the exact same. And I really just love the Milani matte lipsticks. The formula of these are like butter on the lips. They don't go anywhere. And same with the Milk makeup ones. I know that Milk is more of an affordable range, but I really think that the Milani ones do kind of beat it in a way because of the formulation and the color choices that they have. So I definitely recommend going to check out this line if you haven't. I know it's been out for a while. Go check it out, swatch it for yourself, and see what you think. So the last one is another Milani dupe. I told you guys there's a ton of Milani dupes in this video for some reason. I just found that A lot of the ones I had in my collection were actually dupes for some of my favorite products, which I was very happy by, don't get me wrong. So this is the Milani Amore Matte Lip Cream in the shade Loved. I really love their matte liquid lipsticks. They're some of my favorite ones in the drugstore because they do not dry out my lips whatsoever. I really have not been a fan of liquid lipsticks lately because I just really haven't loved that intense matte powdery feel that it gets my lips, and my lips have been so dry with the wintertime and just being super dehydrated that my lips started to crack and they started to get really flaky, that liquid lipsticks weren't being my favorite in a way. So the Milani ones are super creamy, they're very watery in their texture, which is why I found that they were very similar to the NARS Power Matte Liquid Pigments. This is a very watery formula, but that's one reason why I like these, because they go on so thin but have such intense color payoff. And the same thing is with the Milani ones as well. You have that thin watery formula, but they are super pigmented in their coloring. I found that American Woman and Loved were very similar. When they're wet, I don't find that they are exact dupes because I do think that the Milani one is just a smidge darker than the NARS one, but when they dry down the lips, they are very similar. I could barely tell a difference, and you have that exact same kind of formulation. The Milani one does have a creamier base to it, and you do get a wider doe foot applicator than the NARS one is. The NARS one's very, very thin. It's literally straight up water and pigment, and the Milani one is more of your traditional liquid lipstick. But if you are into that kind of thin liquid lipstick and you want a similar color, I definitely would check these out. I rarely ever hear anyone duping the NARS liquid lipsticks, and I really think that the Milani ones, everybody talks about these so much. No one's ever compared these two, and I think that they're very similar in their formulation. So that has been my dupe video for you guys today. I hope you guys have really enjoyed this. Let me know what some of your favorite dupes are in the comments down below. If you guys have any of these dupes, I would love to hear your thoughts from you. And while you're at it, make sure you guys go ahead and give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe for future videos. Also hit the notification bell so you are notified when I do upload. But that is about it for me today, guys. All my social media links are going to be located right up here, so make sure you guys head on over, say hey, check them all out. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are, and I will catch you guys later. Bye!